Oh no, my tenant is gone? Sam Fernley here with True Door Property Management. Please subscribe and hit that like button if you enjoy the content that I am bringing to you today. Now, many of you landlords and realtors have come across the same question. What happens and what are my first steps if the tenant breaks their lease? When a lease is signed, you and your tenant agree to uphold your respective parts of the rental agreement. Sometimes, however, a tenant's circumstances changes during the course of the lease. This could be due to a loss of employment, a potential divorce, maybe a need for a larger place, or a possible relocation for work. Whatever the case may be, both the landlord and the tenant should be aware of the consequences. As a property owner, it is key to stay as flexible and empathetic as possible so you can get the best result. If you treat a lease break correctly, you can work out a solution where you don't lose a lot of money. Here are a couple tips as a landlord that can help you through the process. First off, you should know your rights and responsibilities as a landlord. Attorneys can come with a fee for advice, but at True Door, we will be happy to help and inform you if you are ever in a compromised situation. Be aware that there are some situations where a tenant has the right to break the lease agreement. Under the Service Members Civil Relief Act, a military service member who receives orders to move or deploy may be allowed to break the lease. Typically, service members may be required to provide a landlord with a 30-day notice in writing and a copy of their military orders. The tenant also has the ability to break the lease due to unlivable conditions at the rental. If you have neglected to make needed repairs or otherwise failed to provide a safe and livable property, your tenant has a good cause for breaking their lease. More serious conditions coming with a lease break could be due to domestic violence. In California, victims of domestic violence to break a lease without a penalty by providing the landlord with a written notice. Now, these situations sometimes can get a little tricky. The tenant will have to provide proof that a peace officer took a report as well. Now, let's talk about a situation where a tenant is breaking the lease without legal reason. Here's the best advice for how to handle a tenant that wants to leave early. Work with the tenant to find a replacement renter. Have the existing tenant agree to show the property to new renters while they are living there. Market the property and arrange the new tenants to move in shortly after the existing tenant leaves. If all goes well, you'll sign a new lease with the new renter, a win-win all around. Doing it this way limits the vacancy time and loss of rent. If the tenant does break the lease by leaving early, the law says that the tenant is responsible for any unpaid rent for the remainder of the agreement. But be aware that the tenant is only responsible for actual lost rents at the property. So for example, if the tenant leaves on month 8 of a 12-month lease, but you find a replacement tenant within 1 month, the tenant that left is only responsible for paying that 1 month of lost rent. This is because you replaced income on that property with another tenant. You can use the security deposit to recover lost rents. If the amount of security deposit isn't enough, then you would need to place the tenant in collections. Recovering lost rent from a lease break typically never works out very well, and for this reason, I recommend working with the current tenant to find a replacement. Now, of course, if you need help through the process and you're in the Orange County area, please give True Door Property Management a call, and we'll be happy to take a look at your options whenever you are in a bind with your tenant. Because here at True Door, we bring you more money with less drama.